Hi everyone, this is Sam with Wine News in 5. Today I'll discuss the Old Vine Registry reaching a new milestone, Frost in France, a new category for Asti, Sula's purchase of a Moët Hennessy production facility in India, Georgia's new law requiring state approval for the establishment of vineyards, an EU-Australia trade deal, and harvest and growing season updates from South Africa and Washington State. First up, the Old Vine Registry reaches a new milestone. The Old Vine Registry is a crowdsourced online database cataloging vineyards with vines over 35 years of age, which is searchable by vineyard name, vine age, location, and variety. It started in 2010 as a spreadsheet of old vine vineyards that Tam and Jancis created and updated with the help of volunteers. Then, 3 years ago, our Alder Yarrow turned that spreadsheet into an online database. The not-for-profit Old Vine Conference became the new owner of the registry, and Jackson Family Wines made an investment to make launching a website possible, which happened in June 2023. At the time of launch, there were 2,183 registered vineyards. In the 2 years and 9 months since then, 7,818 new vineyard entries have been verified and added to this database, reaching 10,001 registered vineyards on March 25th. The listings span 42 countries, 1,144 grape varieties, and 40,900 hectares, which is over 101,000 acres. Massive congratulations to Alder and to everyone who has helped to make the Old Vine Registry a success over the years. And if you have a vineyard that was planted in 1991 or before and it isn't registered, why haven't you submitted it yet? Next, frost in France. France has seen an unusually warm and wet start to the growing season, prompting vines to come out of dormancy about 2 weeks early in many regions and making them more sensitive to cold temperatures. Last night, March 26th, temperatures plummeted to dangerously low levels, affecting vineyards in parts of Burgundy, Champagne, Alsace, and Savoie. Vineyard owners attempted to combat frost with paraffin candles in vineyard rows, wind machines, sprinkler systems, heating wires, and new infrared systems. But not all producers have the funds for robust frost mitigation systems. In Chablis, where temperatures dropped as low as negative 6.5 degrees Celsius, which is 20 degrees Fahrenheit, only about 5% of vineyards are protected. Losses in yield are expected, as are 2 more days of freezing nighttime temperatures in Champagne, Burgundy, Alsace, and Savoie, according to Météo Express. On to a new category for Asti. As of March 24th, Asti DOCG wines can be rosé. Previously, the DOCG applied only to white wines made from at least 97% Moscato Bianco. Asti Rosé will require 70 to 90% Moscato Bianco, eligible for the Asti DOCG, and 10 to 30% Brachetto grapes, eligible for the Brachetto de Aqui DOCG, which lies within the Asti DOCG production area. The rosé can be made at all sweetness levels, from extra brut to dolce, and by the tank method or by the traditional method. If it's the latter, it will be labeled as Asti Metodo Classico. Moscato de Asti, a separate category that is frizzante, always sweet, and lower alcohol, will continue to apply solely to white wine made from at least 97% Moscato Bianco. Next, Sula buys Moët Hennessy production facility. On March 26th, Just Drinks reported that Chandon will cease production in India. Moët Hennessy has sold the Chandon production facility and estate in Nashik in the Indian state of Maharashtra to Sula, India's largest wine producer. The deal includes 19 acres, 5 of which are planted with vineyards, plus a visitor center and the winery. On to Georgia's new law requiring approval for the establishment of vineyards. On March 11th, Georgia Today broke the news that as of May 1st, 2026, the country of Georgia will require companies or individuals wishing to establish a commercial vineyard to apply for approval with the National Wine Agency of Georgia. The regulation is intended to boost quality by taking into account soil, location, and variety prior to planting. This is comparable to the work done by France's INAO, which oversees the production standards, quality control, and geographical boundaries for the French wine industry and issues formal authorizations for all new plantings and replantings. This week, the Drinks Business published an article stating that the NGO Transparency International Georgia has warned that the new law increases the risk of corruption by putting the National Wine Agency of Georgia in a position to regulate market access. Next, an EU-Australia free trade deal. On March 24th, the EU and Australia concluded negotiations on a free trade agreement. This deal still needs to be approved by the European Council and Parliament before it can be signed, which is a process that could take up to 2 years. In addition to eliminating tariffs between the two countries, the agreement includes protection for all EU wine GIs, covering 1,650 names in Australia. Producers of Australian Prosecco, who maintain that Prosecco is a grape variety, will have a 10-year phase-out period after which products labeled Prosecco will no longer be allowed to be sold to the EU. The term will still be allowed for products sold in the domestic market. Finally, harvest and growing season updates from South Africa and Washington State. On March 20th, Wine Titles reported that South Africa is approximately 3/4 done with harvest, and quality looks to be very good. On March 25th, Northwest Wine Report published news of bud break in Columbia Valley's White Bluffs appellation at Sagemore Vineyard. This is about 2 weeks ahead of recent averages. That's all for this episode of the Wine News. I'll be switching this newscast to once every other week, so my next newscast will be on April 11th. If you enjoyed this newscast and you'd like to see it continue, please become a member of jancesrobinson.com. And if you have breaking news in your area, please email news@jancesrobinson.com. Thanks.